Hello booktube, hello book friends, welcome back to the channel and another video, another tag video, so it must be Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or whatever day I'm going to put the tag out this week. And this is the Rock On Celtic Songs book tag. It was an original tag created by Nicole at Nicole's Bookish Nook, and I was tagged by Pat at Book Chat with Pat, and it's basically the prompts are all groups and songs, Irish groups and songs, and then a link to tag a book or link a book to that prompt. And there are 9 prompts plus a tag other people prompt. Because as usual I'm playing catch up with my tags. I think this will probably come out in April, but it's really to do with sort of linked to the Celtic readathon, so it should have really been in March, but you know, I'm playing catch up. So let's get started. Prompt number 1, Drunken Lullabies by Flogging Molly, a book involving a celebration that you enjoyed. I'm going to go for a book I finished recently, Louise Penny's The Cruelest Month. Now, although this is a murder mystery, and the crime takes place during a séance. Never get used to the technology. The crime takes place during a séance. Near the start of the book, there is an Easter egg hunt. And that's in all of the Louise Penny books are set in a fictional village of Three Pines, which actually, if you could, if you were picking out fictional places you'd like to live, I think I'd actually quite like to live there. But yeah, so the Easter egg hunt, and that's kind of stuck with me for the last sort of couple of weeks. So I thought I would have that as my prompt. Prompt number 2, The Parting Glass by Ed Sheeran, a book that left you feeling bittersweet because it ended. If you've been here for a while, you'll recognise this book, The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Although it's a 1400 plus page book, I was really sad to finish this. It was such a wonderful story. As you say, if you've been here a while, you'll know why I'm saying that. So yeah, it was bittersweet. I would have liked it to carry on, and in a way it has, because I'm sort of looking for other Dumas novels to read, and so that will kind of live with me, and I will probably go back and read it again. I'm no doubt. So it's not ended. It's kind of au revoir for now. Rebel Yell by Billy Idol, a book you read because someone told you not to read it. Now, this is a bit of an odd one, and there's a bit of a backstory to this. When I was about, I think, 8 or 9, I had like lots of small boys' pocket money that I could spend on, within reason, pretty much anything I wanted, so long as it wasn't kind of illegal, semi-illegal, or likely to hurt me or somebody else. And I actually spent most of my pocket money on books, unsurprisingly. And back then, there weren't that many bookshops. There weren't the big chains like Waterstones and so on that we've got now. There were lots of small independent bookshops, and WH Smith's, which was pretty much where I bought most of my books from. One or the other. And I was very much into reading the Hardy Boys mysteries at that time, and I was collecting I was trying to collect the series basically, and there was a lot of books in that series, but I had a lot of them, and I can remember vividly one day in a WH Smith's with my dad. And he said, "Well, do you want to spend your pocket money on anything?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd like to get a book." And yeah, they had, I don't know, 5 or 6 Hardy Boys novels there, and I was like, "Oh, I've got those two," and it came down to like really a one or two, and the one I wanted to buy was one called The Mummy Curse, and my dad was very much, "Oh, I'm not sure that that's suitable," and I was like, "Well, Dad, I've read like 40 other Hardy Boys novels," but he was very much like, "No, I don't think it's suitable. The cover." But I managed to talk him round, and I don't know why. Let me hold that a bit closer to the camera. Why that particular cover over all whether it's the mummy or the snake, or I don't know. But anyway, he didn't want me to read it. I read it anyway, so that's what I'm going for. I think this was number 61. So there were a lot of them. I think I don't know how many, 80, 100 or so. Starman by David Bowie. This is problem number 4. A sci-fi book about aliens. I'm going to go for 2010 Odyssey 2 by Arthur C. Clarke, because I think this one brings out more of the story that kind of started in 2001, and continued through what was it, 2061 and 3001, so another 2 books, I think, and basically came out of a movie rather than being a specific, being a novel first. So that's what I'm going for that. Shipping Up to Boston by Dropkick Murphys, a fiction or non-fiction book set in or around Boston, Massachusetts. I'm going for the Spencer novels by Robert B. Parker. Pretty much all are set in Boston or thereabouts. One that I haven't read yet. Picked up secondhand a while ago. Haven't read it yet. But yes, that's my pick for that prompt. The Bonnie Banks of Lochlomond, a book that's centered around nature. Unsurprisingly, because I recommend this book all the time, Common Ground by Rob Cohen, set in and around Yorkshire near his home, and sort of very much centered around nature, and how it impacts his life, and and what's happening in his life at the time. So thoroughly recommend that book. Two Recruitin Sergeants by Seamus Kennedy, a fiction or non-fiction book about war. I'm going for Brothers in Arms by James Holland. I read this, I was going to think when it came out. I was going to say 2020. It's a few years ago now. 2021. And this is a story of the Sherwood Rangers Yeomanry, which would today be a kind of like territorial army unit, so not regular forces. And this is the story of basically from when they landed on the beaches in Normandy on the 6th of June, 1944, through to VE Day in 1945, and all the so they saw service in Normandy, in Belgium and Holland, the Netherlands, right the way into the heart of Germany, and they were at some of the major battles at the time, like Geilenkirchen, obviously the landings in Normandy, all different places. It's also significant to me because Keith Douglas, who wrote about his own experiences, but also wrote war poetry, and died during this period, was one of the tank commanders in the Sherwood Rangers Yeomanry. So it has a kind of double meaning for me because it links to my project about war correspondents, poets, artists, etc. It is one of the best books I've ever read on a kind of single unit. It's narrative nonfiction, but it's based a lot on people's diaries, obviously the unit diaries and so on. And it doesn't pull any punches. War is a horrible, nasty business, and that comes out from the very first pages of this book. These guys are in tanks. They're coming ashore, and some of them don't even make it to the beach because their tanks basically sink. So yeah, it's a great book. Really recommend it, but it really doesn't pull its punches. Sam, so I have a dog who is communicating. Oh boy, quiet now. Question number 8, Molly Malone by the Dubliners, a book with a badass female main character. I'm going for Holly by Stephen King, and the character is Holly Gibney. She is pretty badass, actually. You don't think so, and if you read the earlier books that she's in, she's maybe not as clear that she is, but by the time Stephen King wrote this book, she is very much a badass. So yeah, that's my pick for that one. And final question, an Irish pub song by the Rumjacks, a book that is misunderstood. I struggled a bit to find a suitable book. I think there are lots of books that are perhaps misunderstood, but I wasn't kind of really finding any that I thought I wanted to use. So I've got a book that is about a concept that is potentially misunderstood. So I have dogs, as you know, and they, the what's the word? The law, LORE, is that when a dog dies, it heads over the Rainbow Bridge, and waits for you, until your time comes, basically. And I have a lot of kind of think that actually I hope that's true, and that some of the dogs I've lost over the years, I will see again. I'm not 100% convinced that's the case. And that grieving for a lost animal is hard. And maybe the best thing to do is not sort of set yourself up for failure, even though perhaps you won't know. This is going to get too deep and meaningful. The book is Going Home, which is Finding Peace When Pets Die, by John Katz. And this was kind of written to, he is a dog. John Katz is, well, he owns dogs and cats. And his thoughts and experiences from all the dogs he's owned, and grief and what happens, or what he thinks happened, is told in this book. And it's not all Rainbow Bridge and happy ever after. So yeah, that's my pick. So I don't think it's the book that's necessarily misunderstood, but maybe the concept behind the book that is. So yeah, that's my picks. Tag people. I'm not going to tag anybody in the description, or specifically here in the videos, other than to say, if you want to have a go at this tag, do so, please. But given that it should have been done in March and I didn't manage to do that, it's there for the taking if you want to have a go yourself. And if you have been, thank you for watching. Thanks to Nicole for creating the tag. I think I quite enjoyed doing this one. You can see a dog in the background. And thank you to Pat for tagging me. And thank you to you for watching. If you have been, thank you for watching. And I will speak to you again soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.